another video, and this one's a Friday, which is a racing videos. For those that aren't, there's so many new people to the channel. Typically, I do a heavy tech video on Sunday, and then a product review type video, which always has tech in it, on Wednesdays, and usually on Fridays it's race stuff, something related to either the Camaro or the S10, or just something related to that. There's always tech in every one of them, you just have to see what's there. But anyway, today's one's pretty exciting for me. It is about the S10. It finally got in the 10s, which is, I'm pretty happy. Now, should it be like this is the fastest thing ever, or I'm super proud of it, or this is the most amazing point and it's better than everybody else? No, it's nothing like that at all. It's more like my own personal thing. When I built the S10, which by the way has only been 2 years ago now, so it's amazing that it even got done in the amount of time, one. But the goal was to have a 10-second street truck. So one you actually drove on the street, I could drive if I wanted to, and go to the track and run a 10. And the engine that's in it, because a lot of people haven't watched the old video, so I'll go ahead and tell you. The engine that's in it's a 355. It's a stock block, but it does have the splayed centered caps. So it started off its life as a 2-bolt main, but anyway, had it converted to these billet center caps that were splayed. Has a SCAT 4340 crank, SCAT 4340 rods with the ARP 2000 cap screws, and SRP Professional Series pistons. Of course, it has my own heads on it because I've got to run my own stuff. It's got the Brodix Dragon Slayers. These actually are my 242. They're pretty big. They're a 2-way intake valve and 1/600 exhaust valve. Compression ratio is right around 11.9. And before someone says, that's too high for pump gas, I only run it on 91. Even when it's at the track, there's no, I'm mixing it with race gas. It's 91, all right? Sometimes I try to run it on pure 91, as in no ethanol, but from time to time I just go get gas where it's closest. So if that one happens to have ethanol in it, I'll run it anyway. So for instance, this video you'll see of me at the track, it was 91 with an ethanol mix. It wasn't even pure gas. It had an ethanol mix. So for people that think you can't run 11.9 compression ratio on pump gas, you are incorrect. It has never pinged on me driving around. So the key to that is the timing curve. So for people that can't figure that part out, you could have problems with even 10.5 or 9.8 compression ratio if you don't have your timing curve figured out. But anyway, that's what it is. It's got a single plane intake manifold on it from Brodix that I ported, the BM1000. And during this video, it's got the Demon carburetor that I sent off to Mark Whittier, and I hope I didn't say his name wrong, I probably did, and had him redo some things on it, and that got put on there. So that's the truck, kinda. It also has a Turbo 350 transmission by TCI, which to be quite honest with you is a piece of crap. It has a 8-inch TCI converter that I sent to Ultimate Converters to have it restalled, and it stalls about, honestly, it flashes to like 62, so that gives you an idea. And it's got a 4.9-inch out back with 433 gears. On the engine dyno, it made 665 horsepower, or 652 horsepower on pump gas. I did try a 100 octane race gas, and it made like 660 something. And I also tried it on methanol, and it made 672. It did it at 7,500 RPM, by the way. The only thing that changed from, well, there's several things that have changed. The things that have changed to get it to go into the 10s from last video, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you about them, and you'll see it a little bit here in a second, because I actually took a film of me showing kind of things on the truck so you kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. But here are the changes, and this is the biggest one, is the headers. Before, I'd run a shorty header from Sanderson, and it was a 1 3/4 tube, but there were shorties because it would give you better steering radius, turning stuff. That's how I wanted it, because of course it was a street truck. 2.5-inch exhaust, 2.5-inch cherry bomb mufflers, but it's the stainless steel ones. That got switched. So what went on it in place was a set of Lemons headers, which I'll show you in a second in the video. That's 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8, and it's got a 3-inch merge collector. Now the exhaust was taken off, so it's free flowing. And I'll go ahead and tell you, it's not going to stay that way. I did drive it on the street that way. When I was younger, I would have loved it. It deafened me now. Like my ears were ringing. Yeah, I had to go get an alignment done on it. I was deaf. I was lucky to get pulled over anyway for the sound. So that was one of the major changes. The other one, of course, was Mark Whittier redid the carburetor. Really didn't he put annular boosters in it, which already had an annular booster kit, because remember my Race Steven carburetor, I could change out the boosters, but he put his own unique one in it that has more annular booster holes. There's more holes in it that are smaller, so it's better at atomizing the fuel. He also redid some of the calibration on it, and I have to say it works pretty good, because as cruising, which I can't get true O2s as close because there's no pipe extension past where the O2 is, but the cruising for sure is definitely leaner than what it was before, so that's a good thing. And it's more crisp. I never thought I could get a carburetor to be more responsive than what the Sniper EFI was, because when you'd snap the Sniper, it was there. I never thought a carburetor could be even better than that because it was so flawless. This is better. Now, the other thing that's been changed is the upper and lower control arm were changed to tubular ones, which you can see in just a second, and skinnies up front. So that's what it did. The last time it went out, just to give you an idea, it went 1128 at 121 mile an hour. Now, its best pass is a 1086 at 125 miles an hour. So just to give you an idea, it's gained 4 miles an hour in about 4/10, which is pretty outstanding. Now, it wasn't better weather, we'll say that. It's not the most terrific weather. I mean, it was terrific weather for us here in Oklahoma, but several of you are racing in better conditions than we are. The biggest problem though, and I can't show you all because I went out to the track by myself. I didn't bother bugging him, and Cecil had to work some farm stuff, so it was me solo, which is not a big deal. In the Camaro, it's a big deal. S10, not so much. However, because of that, it's really hard to get footage, but someone actually recorded some stuff where I get to show you that. The biggest problem was with the truck, and this was very frustrating, not that it had any major problems, was this. Because of the extra power it makes considerably more power down low with these headers. Getting it to get any type of traction was very, very difficult. I'm running a Nitto tire, 275 6015. It's more of a street tire. It had issues hooking up before, but it was more manageable. Now, because it makes so much more power, it was very hard to get it to leave without spinning, or it hooked just a little bit and spin. And so it was really tough feathering the throttle to get it to leave where it would not spin the tires and take off. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's probably, and I know there's more in the truck if I switch to a slick because of the traction. So I have to leave with a little bit. As soon as it kind of rolls, start rolling into the gas all the way. That slows it down. Now I do have videos to show you. One of me inside the truck, because I did bring the GoPro. And I want you to observe this. Watch when I actually shift. So I move the shifter, and how long before the truck actually shifts. I am losing time with my shifts, not because of me shifting, but because the transmission's not engaging. So I do have a solution to that. I have bought a BTE Sportsman Power Glide transmission. It's got an aftermarket case, it's got a trans brake, and I can't wait to install that and see if it goes faster, which I'm sure that it will, but we'll see. Anyway, you get to see video from inside everything, and I'll show you. I just wanted to show you guys, I ran a 1086, I made 4 passes, and I'll go through the run. The first pass was 1163 at 124, which getting done with that one, I knew it was bad because it took off and then spun. It was actually bouncing so much. And the 60 foot was a 2-second 60 foot. So, but when I saw the mile an hour, I was like, this thing should be in the 10s. There's no way it shouldn't be. Next pass, just trying to get it to launch correctly, and got to like a 1143 at 124 and some change. Same thing. So in the third pass, it was mostly me trying to change some things in the chassis. It kept lowering down the tire pressure and different things with the cow tracks. On the third pass, it went 1132 at 125. So, but the 60 foots were still horrible. It wouldn't hook up. So on the last pass, I was like, I'm just going to try leaving a little bit softer and lower the tire pressure down again, change some more things, and we'll see how it does. It launched, and it hooked up enough, and I was like, oh, great. And then I hit all my shifts perfectly, so I never hit into the rev limiter, and it ran a 1086 at 125.01. So there's the rundown. Here's some of the videos showing the rest of the stuff. Guys, thanks for watching. You won't hear me talk anymore again, besides you'll just get to see me talking about the truck and show you the differences or the changes. You'll get to hopefully see a run from the outside of the truck. Someone did record that, and from inside the truck, so you can observe how long it takes to actually shift. And thanks for watching. Okay, I thought I'd show you what has been changed on the truck just to kind of give you an idea how much it gained and what all exactly got changed. First off is the headers. Now these are Lemon's headers. For those that haven't watched my other videos, you can feel free to go back and watch them, but you'll hear. These are a long tube header, and there's a program called Pipe Max, and if you use Pipe Max, these are actually really long. They're almost the long tube, which is, I can't remember which one it is, but the longer of them, I think it's this one here, it's almost 40 inches, which is too long according to Pipe Max for the RPM and the cubic inch size and everything. But the other ones that came off, so in case you're wondering what was on it before, it was a set of Sanderson Shorty headers, and the shortest port was this one back here, and it was like 6-7 inches long, with this one here being the longer one. I think it was something like 18. So these were dramatically longer. First off, the tube size is also bigger. These are 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8. And what you can't see from this video, and I'm not crawling underneath the truck to see it, but it has a merge collector that has a 2 3/8 choke, which you're like, I can't believe that's really small. The reason why I chose that is because we used the same merge when we actually engine dynoed this, and we had the same type of header, 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8. Now it was a shorter tube, but still had the merge collector on it too. And it was not quite as good as the 1 7/8 step to 2 inch with a 3.5 inch collector, but pretty close. These were definitely more on street. The idea was to give it better low end. So there's one of the changes. There is some things that I had a problem with. I did wrap them, and you could see the wrap started to come off because it was tearing, because evidently hit the side of the tire when it turned. Now, that's the thing that got changed too, was the control arms. These are QA1s on top and UMI on the bottom. There's actually a bump stop, which hopefully it's still there. Yeah, way underneath there that could prevent its turning, and I need to add a shim so that this wheel, when it comes back, won't hit my header. Looks like it just barely got into it. But anyway, there's some of the changes. So 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8 with the merge collector, the QA1 control arms, and you can't see it from this, but this is the same Demon carburetor, but I had Mark Whittier, and I'm probably saying his name wrong, I'm sorry about that, but I had him redo the carburetor, and he had annular boosters with his special one, not the ones that I had that came with the Demon. He had these special ones, and I will say this thing is far more responsive than even it was whenever it had fuel injection on. So it is, which I didn't think it was possible because the fuel injection was so snappy. This one's actually more responsive. So there's that. In case you're wondering, well, did it lose any weight? It did. You would think that having these control arms like this compared to the stock ones, you lost a ton of weight, and no. It lost about 2 pounds a piece on each one of these on the top. So that's a total of 4 pounds lost on the top ones. The bottom ones lost a little bit more, 3 a piece. So that's 6 pounds total. So together, changing both upper and lowers between the both of them, it only lost 10 pounds. So if you're like, oh, I'm gonna drop a whole lot of weight with these tubular control arms, you're incorrect. Now it does give some benefits though. Had a better bump stop here and on the bottom. If you're wondering what that's for, it's for the sway bar that I don't have hooked up. The bigger weight loss actually came from these. Now, if you remember before, I think I had a 205 75/15 tire on there and a 7.5 inch rim. These are 3.5 inch rims, and they're skinnies. Let's see what size these are. Somewhere on here it'll say. I'll let you find it because I sure can't remember. But I did weigh these. So this tire setup compared to the old tire setup, these tires with the tires and everything on it, it's 10 pounds less. So that's 10 for each wheel. So that's 20. So together, all this lost 30 pounds. And then also not having the exhaust on it, didn't weigh the exhaust, but it probably lost another 10, 20 pounds there. So the truck itself maybe lost, I don't know, maybe 50 to 60 pounds, something like that. That's estimating. I know what it lost on the front. So they did lose a little weight, but not like a huge change. Most of the power difference came really from the headers one, the change in the carburetor, and also we did have better air. So usually I've been racing in like 90 to 80 degree air, and now we had air, it was in the high 60s. So the density out to was 1500 instead of the 3500, which makes a difference too. But all in total, I mean, it gained 4 mile an hour and 4/10. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell you about this. Oh, in case you're wondering what the cost and all this was, and I'm not gonna lie, it's an expensive deal. The headers were $1,500 uncoated, and I sent them off to Jet Hot to have this special coating put on. That was not cheap. They have a cheaper one that's silver, and these are not. And that cheaper one runs like, I think $400 or $500. This one's they're good to 2,000 degrees, and that one you can use with the wrap, and that's the reason why I did it. The wraps are put on to keep the engine bay cooler, but these ones cost $800 to coat. So if you're looking already, you're at $2,300. Because I had the merge collectors, each collector's $250, so that's another $500. So about $3,000 in that. And then the control arms, of course, everything else. So all totaled, all this was pretty expensive. I think it's all totaled almost $4,000 when you have everything in there with alignment and everything, the new tires and all that. It's about $4,000. Really expensive. But I couldn't stand the short headers. I couldn't get back to the back to even tighten them. They kept leaking. I don't know if these will. I don't think they are. They're definitely easier to change if they do. So, and also it definitely needed to pick up some performance. As far as drivability, it actually drives so much better. And you wonder why you change the control arms. Not that I had to. It's because the other ones, even though they were new, they were squeaking, so it frustrated me. So I changed with these. You don't have to change this. So that's not a have to thing. However, the skinnies sure make it easier to steer. I'll say that. Easier to turn the wheel anyway. And anyway, hopefully that gives you some more information about what's been done to the truck. From here, I think the biggest problem was trying to get it to hook up. And I'll show you guys just because I want you to understand. This is the tire I was trying to hook up on. My Nitto. And it's a street tire. It's frustrating. If I could get it to hook up better so I don't have to baby it out of the hole, I definitely run faster. So I think the next thing that's going to end up happening is I'll probably buy another set of rims and a set of slicks and change those out. And then I'm going to probably also switch to a different transmission because it is definitely slipping, to a Power Glide from BTE with a trans brake. Won't be as pleasant to drive on the street, but yeah, I'll make do. Anyway, there's that.